Hello, dear friends, and thank you for coming to our talk with a very special teacher of mine. I have talked about him to you, and I'm very happy that today we are now in Paris and that we are able to discuss on topics that we find so valuable. They are part of the inner teachings, and we know that these pieces of knowledge are really sacred. We have felt them sacred and we have known them sacred. But you know, as disciples grow, they learn and they research, they try to reach a state of mind and a state of heart in which these teachings become their life. But there is somebody who is really living the life, and this somebody is usually a master. A master can be an external personality, but also, what is more important, it is a hidden personality. Not so obvious, not so glamorous, not so easy to tell in a crowd or in a public venue, but I'm very happy that we have the opportunity of meeting a master of the inner teaching. So I really request that you keep your respect and that you open up and that you try to flow with the energy and just get immersed. And while you are immersed in this experience, I think you'll be able to get what usually we called in the Orient the blessings. So the blessings, it means that you become a part of a geometry that is not currently pertaining to you. It's not yours, but it's the geometry of the master you are inquiring from. So now we have several questions to ask, and be careful as you get the answers. It's not only the words, but it's the feelings that start to appear. So please be careful and just observe what is truly happening to you. I hope we'll be giving enough time for our interpreters also to give the translation in French and in other languages. So let's get silent for a moment and take a breath. And please be receptive. Thank you. So, it is our privilege to have you here. As you requested, we shall be addressing you as the adept. So we will not be really disclosing your personality. And thank you for saying yes to our invitation.
It's my pleasure meeting all of you.
Thank you. So, it's an enormous continental topic. It's sacred geometry. It's the topic of Europe, the topic of the mystics. And as we are in Paris, this is the topic of Paris. So it's very hard to cover this topic, but we are trying to find the sacred geometry into human lives and into divine life. As we can see in this city, there are so many buildings, so many museums, so many artifacts, and all of them are somebody's trial to get to divinity. And as we observe, something has happened. So that might be a start to what you can explain to us for this sacred geometry. What is coming from God? What is coming from the human? Please share some light.
Thank you for the topic and for the question. And first of all, I have to express my gratitude for all those who came and share our meeting. And join our session, because this is not, for me, such occasions are not simply giving a talk or giving a speech, but it's a mutual effort to come closer to some serene and very fine reality. So you mentioned sacred geometry, and I think most of us remember the school times when geometry was something so abstract that it seemed absolutely useless.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the major failures of the present day education system, that they cannot invite your inquisitiveness, they cannot inspire you to enter into the field, into the topic. Nevertheless, geometry is a very special field of science, because this is not only a part of abstract thinking and mathematical combinations, but this is a manifestation of divine harmony, divine reality. So in one sense we can equate sacred geometry with divine harmony. Yeah. And in that respect, I think we all can agree that we are all searching for divine harmony, spiritual harmony. And sacred geometry is one way to express this divine harmony. Therefore, we can say that this is a transition point to divinity, to the higher reality. And as you mentioned, here in Paris, we see so many examples of that well-thought, harmonious, proportionate connections and establishments. So I think if we read that language, if we understand that language, then it will tell us a very fine-tuned, a very sophisticated story.
When you're speaking of divine harmony, do you mean nature, or it goes beyond nature? How do we perceive this divine harmony?
Well, if you say nature, immediately we have to ask whose nature?
Yes.
Because usually we observe nature as an emanation of some substance. Mm-hmm. So what is a substance? Nature is beautiful. We have to agree that nature is, astonishingly beautiful, so complicated, and at the same time so simple, so natural for us. Nature is very natural for us as an environment. Mm-hmm. Yet this is a secret language, just like an encoded book. And if you know how to decipher this book, then you will understand the hidden truth behind. Mm. So nature is there, but nature is only a reflection of the substance. It's only the manifestation of the original truth. And we can say that nature is mystic by itself. And what is mystic? Mystic, something is mystical if it can convey a message beyond the obvious layers. Hmm. And therefore I say, if you read the code of nature, then you will understand the mystic message.
Can we say that divine harmony is also in us? Are we searching for nature because we are searching for divine harmony?
As the body-mind construction of the human beings is part of this material universe and material nature, of course this is the platform where we all belong together, where we share the same hidden background. So on that platform we all belong together, and therefore nature tells us, touches us. And if we go beyond the manifestation,
yes,
then we shall see what is the original version of that harmony. So in that sense we can agree that transition happens if you penetrate the obvious manifestation.
Go beyond the veil.
Correct, as all the mystics put it.
Okay, so what are the means, basically? Can you tell us some of the methods to penetrate, to go beyond? What is it?
Well, to achieve any kind of results, any kind of success in your basically spiritual endeavors, we have to apply a method, right? Because without a method, there are no results.
Yes.
The whole world works according to the action-reaction principle. So if we have some spiritual input first, and then we have a spiritual response to that input, to that invitation, then the flow starts to happen, and then we can start our spiritual journey. So what is a method? I think there are a lot of different methods, and now the variety of methods is just unlimited. It's just like a huge shopping center in spiritual techniques. But basically we can distinguish two main categories. And one is, let's say, the technical methods, and the other category is the emotional methods, or the flow methods. So what about the technical methods? I had a friend who was obsessed a little bit. He was obsessed by numerology, so much so that he started to count the doors in his home. And then he understood, hey, wait a minute, I have 9 doors in my flat. Then he started to exaggerate this as a secret message. Yes. But then he understood, well, wait a minute, I'm obsessed by the numbers, because the doors in your home might be 7 or 8 or 9 or 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
So these technical methods usually lead us into a labyrinth where you think that I had found something, although if you try to catch it, you will understand this is not that. It's not that. It's not the real achievement. Because what happens if I have 5 doors in my room, or 7? It's not a real achievement. So therefore I say that the technical methods give you some enlightenment, but hardly they provide the total view of the picture. In the ancient, especially Indian traditions, a very special, a very unique method survived. And this is like an emotional approach to the Supreme Truth. When you try to harmonize yourself, your existence, your bodily mind construction, your emotional ego, your soul identity, with the divine vibrations, with the divine invitation. This is basically an emotional contact, but in this respect, emotions are totally different from the human feelings. This is not on the feeling platform, because feelings change so quickly. Today I like something, tomorrow I don't like the same thing. So this is not the divine emotions, spiritual emotions, is not on the feeling platform. This is rather a state of consciousness.
Yes.
And as the original cause of all causes is eternal, it's conscious, and it's also blissful. So anything as an emanation, as a reflection or a creation of that original cause should also share the same qualities. To put it in a religious context, if God is omnipotent, all good, then the creatures, the human beings, should also have a little portion of this original divine harmony and potency. So I think from this we can understand that the cause and the effect share the same qualities. If the divine geometry is there, then the human geometry is also there.
Well, can you tell us something about this principle of bliss? Because if I'm correct, you're giving us a hint of Ananda principle.
Correct.
And bliss is also related to love, divine and human. So, in a very special way, we are in the capital of love. And definitely Paris is taken into consideration. It's like a central point on the map of love. So very strange, because when we walk along the streets of Paris, we can see humanly love, let's say. Many buildings or many, I don't know, shops or shop windows are arranged in accordance with this humanly perspective, like every day, a little bit posh, a little bit, like a goal target, I don't know.
Or sensual.
Yeah, sensual gratification. So it might be the physical love or the lower love, but at the same time here we can see so many temples, and it's obvious. And we were so lucky to be present in the Notre Dame Mass. It was extreme, like angel love and divine love. So,
correct.
So here we can see that both are present, and one is on the streets, other is in the temple, or maybe they exchange places for us
from time to time. I'm sure.
So can you? It's a very. I know it's a very. Stupid question, but what is love?
Bah. Well, thank you for the very obvious and direct question. Well, if I could put this answer this in one sentence, I would do that. But I think we are all searchers. We are all students of this enormous and very prestigious school of divine love. Mm. And I have learned from my masters that whoever says, I know, they never know. But whoever says, well, I don't understand it at all, they might know. Mm. So, but returning to your original idea, yeah, we can see the different gradations of bliss, the different gradations of love, because we should connect the two, bliss and love. I think love is the ultimate capacity of the soul. This is the language that we can talk with God, with Supreme, with the universal ultimate principle. This is the highest power that resonates beyond the cosmic background vibrations. And this is the only thing that is worth to live for. But we have to be intelligent enough to find it properly. Because if we find and if we express our loving capacity in the shop windows and in the human sexual relationships, then we miss the point. Because these are all only reflections of something original. And in that respect, even the reflection is a mystic experience, because it tells us a story of something much, much higher. And in the temples, something should happen. A blissful experience should happen. A temple is not a place to remind you of some torture. This is not a place of suffering. This should be a place of bliss. And I think we could experience this by the angelic voices, by the beautiful play of of the light through the rose windows.
The organ playing.
And the sound system, we can say. So all our senses are involved in this divine vibration, invitation, we can say geometry, although this is not only symmetry on a paper, but harmony in your whole existence. The smell, the impression, the murmur of the people present in the temple, the prayers, the sound of the organ, sometimes quite a psychedelic sound of the organ.
In Paris, yeah.
So all give the impression that go beyond, try to elevate your mind, open up your consciousness. And if we can make only one little step in this direction, it will give you a blissful feedback. Yes. So it is not very far. Maybe we are far from the ultimate state of bliss and love. We can equate the two states of consciousness. But even the first step is very blissful, is very loving.
Many of our Catholic friends, I don't know if they feel or they claim that Catholicism is like expired, or that it's very rigid, or it's very stern. However, we can see that something is really reviving and there is a strong spirit. So I remember from my personal experience, there was a time when I was expecting to be given something by somebody, like by the priest or by the religion itself. And at a certain point, and I would say very much due to our personal relationship with you, I started to understand that it's a personal experience. It's not something to be expected by a religious body, but my mind and body started to become religious and spiritual. So it was what I shifted to. And then I could feel, and again, in the East we say, right, it's by the teacher's mercy, or by the blessing of the teacher, that now we are living what we were searching for.
Correct. And what you said reminded me of our topic, sacred geometry. Usually on the material manifestation platform, we have certain ratios, like the golden section or phi as a number, and they tell us something like a universal principle, that these ratios you can find everywhere. And if you observe a rectangle, for example, according to the golden section, then it's most appealing to you, because somehow you are encoded, we are encoded in that sense. If we see the golden section, this is our code, this is our language, then you feel familiar, then you feel comfortable, right? So what is the ultimate golden section of humanity? This is the divine experience, which is by nature a loving and a mystical experience. So therefore, if we can shift just a little bit our attention, as you mentioned, instead of gaining or receiving or expecting something, if you can make only one step, let's try to give something, let's try to offer something.
Yes.
Then the real golden section, this emotional surge, emotional code for the soul and the super soul, for the human and the divine, will happen in our life. And I think this is the sacred geometry. This is the code, the ultimate code. From the egocentrism, you should come to geocentrism.
So it seems that revival of religion is a personal issue. It's not a state issue. It's not a Rome issue. It's not a Vatican issue.
Many say that the times of mass religion is finished.
Yes.
And there is a transition to personal realizations, personal endeavors in spiritual life, which I truly agree. Without our contribution, without our efforts, without our willingness, hardly we can achieve any spiritual achievements. Nevertheless, there is an objective, there is a divine side of the whole story, that the invitation must be there. Also, as you mentioned, the blessings must be there, and then it will activate whatever we have collected, merits, spiritual desires, pure ambitions, the blessings that we receive from the Supreme Lord, from the universal principles, from our masters, etc. They can activate our assets, our spiritual assets.
Okay, so is this part of our personal loving alchemy, that we have to change, we have to give, we have to provide in order to receive? Is this? It sounds so simple, everybody is talking about it, but are we doing?
Sounds simple. But we have to make a personal experience. We have to enter an experiment. You don't have to believe. You don't have to agree. Try it for yourself. What happens if you make the first step? Usually we expect that somebody else makes the first step.
Yeah.
Extends a help.
Everybody.
Practically, we all wait for somebody else to act, to do something. Let's try it. Do something for yourself. They say that every long journey starts with the first step. First small little step.
Yeah. What should that be for us? Like for a normal human being. We're living in Paris, going to work, trying to raise our kids. What is this first step? It seems that temples are full, but mostly with tourists. What to do?
Well, the attention has shifted because in the previous times, places like Paris or the Notre Dame was not only a touristic attraction, but this was a place of pilgrimage, where people came with their spiritual desires and offerings. And then the exchange was happening on a different platform. Now, if you come with your cameras, maybe you will take some pictures with you, but I don't know how much spiritual experience is there.
So outer pilgrimage, not inner pilgrimage?
Mostly. This is only a change of place, not a change of consciousness, not a change of vision.
Although maybe something is happening on the invisible platform, because so many are attracted.
I'm sure. That even unknowingly, if you enter such a surcharged place, something will happen, something will stay with you.
Every day they enter by the thousands, maybe, I don't know, tens of thousands?
And I don't know if you have observed, but at the entrance, there were hundreds of people waiting and slowly entering. On the exit, very few people came out.
So the others have ascended, turned into practical mystics. So what to do?
To be practical, because in my understanding, spiritual life or even mystical experience should be practical. So then what to do? Well, my suggestion is, first try to analyze yourself, try to understand your position. In the Vedas, in the ancient Indian scriptures, it is said that even the great mystics, even the great teachers, they start from themselves. Because the experience of our own individual existence, this is like the 0 point for us. And zero, not in the meaning that it's nothing or it's empty, but it contains all the possibilities that you can manifest in
like
your
a
life.
starting point.
It's a start, like an origo, like just originating from there.
Points of expansion.
Yes. So we have to analyze, try to understand ourselves. Who am I? Am I the body? Am I the thoughts? Am I the feelings? Am I this? Am I that? And then finally we come to some substantial conception that I am. These are the two words, I am. If we really understand the extremely substantial meaning of these two words, then we can start to grow. Then we can start to make the next step. Because if I understand that I am, I also have to understand that the word, the external word, also exists somehow. With all the creatures, with all the beautiful manifestations of nature, as we discussed before. And if we want to accomplish that sacred geometric thinking, then we have to find the third angle of this triangle, myself, the universe, the word, external,
Creatures,
and the creator or the source.
Creator.
Right. So, and then you have the existential triangle, and then you will see that it starts to function. But again, I think that was a little theoretical. So what to do? Meditate. Instead of going out, being lost in the external world,
So many stimuli there.
try to divert your attention. Close your eyes to the external world, and in this way your third eye will open to the inner universes that you all have in your hearts and souls.
Thank you for all these answers, and we can feel the energy also, which is so subtle. You mentioned I am, and many of the Western esoterics explain that this verse or this phrase, invocation, is part of the Bible, and they relate it to Abraham and Moses. But as you have researched for so long Hindu traditions, can you please give us more light on how this exact phrase is revealed there? Maybe some text, or what is the corresponding mantra or something like this?
Well, first of all, we have to understand who is speaking. Because if it is given by God Supreme, I am, and this is the ultimate principle. This shows that the first point of all observation is existence. From existence we can start, I am. If it is the human being who says, I am, then we also have to ask, what is the next question? What is the next sentence? The next sentence is, you are. So, if God says, I am, that proves His existence, and when He says, and you are, that means He created the human beings.
Yes.
If we humans say that I am, we perceive our existential principle, then our next connection will be, and you are. You are also there, my Lord. So immediately we come to another ultimate principle of sacred geometry and divine love principle, and this is the connection. If there are no subjects, there is no connection. So either we say that I am and you are, or God says I am and you are, it tells us connection.
And are there any texts or names that are related to this formula?
Oh, yeah, there are many. The most important, one of the most important books of all Indian revelation is the Bhagavad-Gita, or the song, divine song.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very comprehensive discussion between Krishna, God appearing on the earth, and his good friend and worshipper Arjuna. And in one place Krishna says, I am the taste of water. And here you can see the beautiful, beautiful gradation of divine revelation. Because what is the first? I am. I exist. Then he adds, I am the taste, which is a highly refined and really mystical expression, because taste is the connection that we can establish with this original truth, with this original divine personality. But then he wants to hide this very essential and very delicate point. He wants to hide this, and therefore he adds, I'm the taste of water. And in this way, it brings our attention to an element of nature. And therefore we can say that all the elements of nature tell us about a higher story, tell us about the real story.
And the sound? Can you mention some sounds that are related to this? Because we know you're a specialist also in mantras.
So actually all sounds, all mantras tell about the same original principle. And in this age, there are some specific mantras that are especially recommended for meditation. Otherwise, they say there are some 84 million mantras, plus the combinations, because mantra, or the divine sound vibration, is the network that is the background of the whole existence. Nevertheless, there are some very special empowered mantras for this age, and one very beautiful and general expression is the Om mantra, which is an absolutely unique achievement. It's a highly condensed symbol, both visual and oral, because if you say Om, then you hear the sound vibration, and we also have this very nice visual expression of the same mantra and principle, I have to add. And actually, Om contains three sounds, A, U, and M. And A, as even in the Bible, we understand that I am the Alpha and Omega, I am the beginning and the end. So A is the beginning. It's God. The U, the second part of this core mantra, is the U, is the divine love and connection and harmonizing principle. And the M at the end is the human being, is the human soul. So we can say that between the starting point, the original cause, God Supreme, and ourselves, this very tiny experience of life, existence, individual, there is a connection, and that connection is based on divine love. This is the Om. So if you start to think of this Om mantra, then you start to cultivate that principle, that there is a source, there is a connection, there is me, there is myself, we belong together, there is an eternal relationship between us, and in this way we can shift our attention. Then we don't go shopping to search for the external manifestations of beauty, harmony, satisfaction, etc. But you will find treasures inside.
So in this respect, we achieve union, like the connecting principle. And when we enter meditation, we start to live in this union more and more. Is that what you mean?
Unio Mystica is a general principle for all the different mystic schools. And just like in human relationships, if we are in harmony with someone, we perceive a kind of unity, we perceive a kind of togetherness.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, our individual existence is still there, and it enhances the beauty of the connection. So, I agree, if we fine-tune our spiritual understanding and conception, then we shall perceive the different grades and the different shades of this harmonious unity with divinity.
Thank you. And we had this question, like we observe two cases. One is, let's say, if we talk of orders of love. One is orderly. It's like the harmony. It's like the perfect match. It's our ideal of a loving relationship. Because now we are shifting the topic gently to the couples and the relationship. And it seems that everybody has this, like, inborn or engraved. Everybody knows. I don't know, is it coming from the true self, or it's coming from the way we were brought up, from the fairy tales, but like everybody has this idea. And it's like the perfect relationship. Then we meet someone, and it seems for a while, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, that wow, this is the person. Wow, this is this absolute relationship. And so many couples are coming to Paris in order to find yeah, it's like their honeymoon, but it's like the summit of what they might have in their life. Although maybe a little expensive, maybe a little bit of a holiday experience, but at a certain point you start to lose this vision. You start to lose this practical living, your ideal. And then it turns out this person is not so good. It turns out that you're not so fixed to your ideal, and you are not ready to follow even yourself. And gradually we turn to broken orders of geometry, broken geometry of human relationships and of couples especially. So can you give us, let's say, the spiritual perspective? What is, let's say, a modern broken couple? What is this geometry, and what is the perfect couple? Because there is some order, and there is a good reason for some men and women to enter the orders, not only of personal, we know, not only of personal ascension and personal spiritual achievement, but of communion, and they can grow together in mysticism and in divine love. So there is this human part, if you can tell us something about it. Let's say it's the broken part or the fallen couple, and then there is the ascended couple. And there might be a way, and I know you have been helping couples to transcend. So if you can tell us, I know it's a mystical process, I know that practically it's a bit of a secret and it's happening only to those who are inside, but if you can tell us some more.
Well, first of all, I think most of us, when we experience this rapture, we fall in love not with the other person, but with our dreams. with your ideals.
Mm-hmm.
And you like your ideals, and then you will understand, oh, well, but this person doesn't match my dream.
Mm-hmm.
He is himself or she is herself, and not what I expected.
Yeah. Hard to tolerate sometimes.
So therefore, if we examine, if we understand ourselves properly, then you will not search for your own dream in the other person, but you will see the other person, right? And then I hope it's more stable. And
you mean we're down to earth? Or what?
What to tell about this? Because human beings are born to experience this passionate experience. We are designed by nature for that experience. So to say that, wait a minute, this passionate experience is a false dream might sound very bitter. But I think in that elementary platform, this is very close to the truth. Don't marry your dreams. Don't marry or don't join your ideals. Try to see the other person as he or she is. And then you will be more realistic. Usually, most of us, we don't marry our first love. Right? First love is like a very close to divine experience. And then you will find your partner and you will establish your long-standing connection with him or her, right?
Yes.
But at least we have a glimpse of some ideal feeling and rapture and emotional explosion.
Like higher realities.
And if you want to be realistic, then you will live together with your wife or husband.
Maybe here is why not so many now are ready to live together.
To enter the blessed connection.
Yeah, in the communion,
Marriage. I think this is a loss. We lose some extra help in our life. But anyway, what happens in the West? We fall in love with someone and we marry that person. And then it turns out he or she was not the real one. While what happens in the Orient?
Yes.
They marry someone and then they start to learn how to love that person. This is the major difference between the two approaches. So they don't start their connection on this emotional rapture. Better I say this rapture of feelings, right? Because that is mixed.
Yes.
But they enter a realistic connection and then they start to grow it. They start to cultivate it.
Like gardeners?
Yeah, because higher stages of any emotional contact is more selfless, more tolerant, more easy to adjust. So I think this is the basic difference between the, so to say, Western type of human relationships and the Oriental type of human relationships. Arranged marriages do exist in the Orient, which is, absolutely outdated in the West, in the Western nowadays societies. Although the stability of families is much stronger in the traditional societies. Of course, there is also a shift, there is also a change in those societies, but again the question comes what to do.
Yes.
Then what to do? Sometimes we have to agree that better to separate than to kill each other slowly for ages. But again, as I have learned from my masters, be very strict, very strong on your principles and be very flexible on the application of these principles. So I do believe in the sacred marriage. I do believe that this is a reflection of the sacred geometry, of the harmony that we are all searching for, right? Because the soul is harmonious by nature. So if we are stranded here on this material platform, we search for the original feelings, we search for the original experience. And therefore a divine connection with a man or with a woman is a reflection of my eternal harmonious being. No doubt this is very difficult to maintain that state of consciousness for a long time, but I hope it will bring the fruits on the long term. And at the same time we have to find something new in the other person. And how you can find something new in your partner? If you also find new and new aspects of yourself. Then you can give something new, more understanding, more excitement, and then you will receive. So we are back to the original point. At first, try to give, and then you will be given.
And as you said, explore yourself. It means that the more I explore myself, the more I'll be able to give, and to
share,
provide,
to show, to be help, to be a guide, to be a servant. So this is a partnership, partner connection, or any human relationship is based on mutual interests. And not only material interests, but of course rather a spiritual interest. In the old times, people were so much connected to each other that they were ready to die after each other. If my husband dies, I don't want to live alone here. So ladies were ready to go after their husbands, because for them this connection was not a it's not a treaty, or it's not a
signature, not a contract.
It's not a contract for them, right? This is an eternal connection between the souls. And we can see some good examples for that also.
So it's not social pressure, like ladies don't have the right to live where the males are not there, but...
No, I think it works both sides. And we can see, even today, we can see in very nice long-standing relationships that they cannot tolerate the absence of the other partner. You
mean that they pass away soon after their partner?
Many times it happens, yes, correct. And for me that tells that this is not only a bodily connection, there is a connection between the souls. Maybe they had found their soul partner, and then they can go together.
Like next life experience, or...